All right, Susie, we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this special episode of Secular Jihadists for a Muslim Enlightenment. I am Susanna McIntyre, President and CEO of Atheist Republic, joined by the founder of Atheist Republic, Armin Navabi. And with us, our special guest today is Azad Farsani. Now, if you are a part of the Persian community of Atheist Republic, you know who Azad is, but he'll be new to many of the people on the English side of things. And so I'm very excited to have him because I'm familiar with him from being around our community, but I've never actually got to talk to him before. So, Azad, welcome.
Hi, Susanna. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, Armin.
Hi, thank you for being here.
Thanks.
So, Azad is like a very interesting person and has a very outspoken ex-Muslim, very passionate about the cause, and a lot of people on this side of things probably wouldn't be familiar with your background, but could you give us
Can we give before we do that? Can we give a teaser about what because something serious just happened? I just want to. We don't have to talk about that right now, but do you want to give a hint of what happened so that people know what's about to come?
Well, Azad recently made headlines in Iranian Persian speaking news for the FBI reaching out to him, expressing intelligence that they had about threats against him because of his activism and because of what he speaks about and writes about. And so we're gonna get into that, but we have to lay the foundation first. So they're like, who is this guy? Why are people threatening him? So Azad, my understanding is that a lot of how you came to be known goes back to your time in graduate school and the writings that you were doing in graduate school anonymously. Like I believe your blog was called Noble Whispers, and how you were exposed, and kind of give us the background on that, a little bit of a story about how this all started.
All right. So thank you so much for having me again. And hi to everybody from your audience. I'm glad to be here. Yes, actually, so in Iran, I studied Islamic studies in a very famous school in Iran. They called Imam Sadiq University. And they found that school to teach some specific students to run the government and to run the Islamic regime in Iran. And some of the great ayatollahs founded that school, Imam Sadiq University. So I thought at that school, I thought Islamic theology and then Islamic philosophy. And I was memorized the Quran because of my Islamic theology that I was actually reading there. But I was memorizing the Quran, 2/3 of the Quran. And after that, actually the second year when I was at school, I quit Islam. And I threw some parts of the Quran in the toilet, and totally I quit the Islam. And also I was against the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime in Iran, and I can call myself, I was a regime changer. That's why you can see behind me there is two words in Persian. The first one is ma murtadan, means we apostates, and the second one is ma barandazan, means we regime changers. And actually when I was about, right now I'm 44 years. When I was about 21 years, I quit Islam and I was a regime changer. I was seeking for the regime change in Iran. And also my PhD was in philosophy, in Western philosophy. And at that time, I was reading some books, articles criticizing Islam, criticizing the Islamic regime in Iran, but not with my real name, with a nickname that it was Azadeh. So my name right now, it was my nickname in Iran because my previous name was Abbas. It was the Islamic name, but I changed it when I got the citizenship in US. I changed it to Azad, that it was my nickname. And yes, I quit Islam and I start criticizing Islam, but they found me through my internet IP. They arrest me. They send me to to the cell. They investigate me for about 20 days. It was a long story. I don't want to take your time. But since I quit Iran, I start criticizing Islam and regime with my real name. And right now, so the threats that I got is not something that I got recently. It was a constant threat. But recently, maybe a couple of months ago, we start a program that I call it reading some verses of the sinkhole of Quran. And I'm reading the Quran that you can see it behind me. I'm reading the Quran and I interpret the Quran from a critical thinking point of view. So I'm saying, okay, this is Quran, and if you read this book, it is not ethical, it is not rational, it is not moral, it is not something human. So that's why I encourage the Muslim people, hey, this is your Quran, read it, and if you read it, you will be you like me, you quit Islam too, you'll be an ex-Muslim then. And I think that's something that make them sad or make them angry about me. Also, in Persian culture, we maybe Armin know better than me. We have the last Wednesday of the Persian calendar we call Charshambe Suri, that we take some fires and we jump from up there. And the last Wednesday of last year in Iran, we had a program, a live program, and we encourage people to burn Quran. We said we're burning the Quran because Quran burning people and burning Iran. So just to show our protest against burning people like the Farkhande in Afghanistan, or some people in Pakistan, they kill them and they burn their body. So we encourage people, hey, this is your book. You have the right to burn your Quran, to show that it is burning the people, to show your protest against them. And eventually we have a program, actually a live program a couple of weeks ago, we call Knowing the Personality of Muhammad, the Prophet of Islam. And in that show, we had some socialists, some psychologists, some historian from Iran and Afghanistan. They are very famous people. And we talk about the personality of Muhammad. And it was the last program that I think they make them angry. And it was about just a few days that I got a call from the FBI, and they asked me about the nature of the threats and why that happened. And I explained it to them, what I explained to you right now. And actually, when they called me, I was surprised because it's something that happened suddenly to call me. And they call me, hey, where you at? I said, I was going to Detroit, and probably you know that Michigan has the most population of the Muslim people in US, and Detroit has the most population in Michigan, and I was going to Dearborn, that Dearborn has the most population of Muslim people in the United States. So the FBI agent asked me, where are you going? I said, I'm going to to Detroit. And then I'm going to Dearborn. He said, hey, are you going to London, or do you have any plan to go to London? You are not in London. I said, no. He said, because we got some news from the officials in London, and they said that you are under threat, a legitimate threat, and they want to kill you wherever they find you. So they want to make sure I'm safe. And I told them I'm safe, I'm okay. But some of the guests that we have in that show about the personality of Muhammad, they were living in London, like Dr. Mitra Babak. He's a psychologist. And yeah, it's a long story. Sorry for that, but that's the kind of recap of that, what happened.
Yeah, no, thank you for explaining. Did they express exactly who was the source of the threat, and if they were connected to any group or government, or is it just an individual who had taken it upon themselves?
They did not explain to me the details. The only thing that they asked me, hey, do you know, they gave me two names. I know they have some policies to not give the exact information to the people. They told me, do you know some people like Wahid or Walid? I said, no, I don't anybody like that, Wahid or Walid in London. But I'm not sure it was related to a specific organization, specific individuals, or a specific country. They just informed me that you are under threat, a legitimate threat, and they told that you must be killed, whoever find you, and whatever location that you are. And then they give me some directions about my how to protect myself, and they told me you don't need to know the exact details, or you don't need to tell other people about the exact details, because we need to protect you, and we need to do our job.
Mm.
Wouldn't you be better protected if you knew where the threat is coming from? Like, wouldn't you need better? Wouldn't that serve you with your protection? Like, I don't understand why they're not giving you the information.
Maybe I agree, but they did not give me the exact information, who they are, where they are coming from, or organization, government, country. They said the original of the threat is from London,
Right.
but they
Did
told
they?
that you must be killed whenever they find you.
Did they? Do you know if they arrested the people who are planning this?
No, they did
No.
not tell me anything, and they said they got the information from the Interpol. And the actually the UK, the United Kingdom officials told the Interpol, and Interpol contact the FBI.
Wow.
I wonder if you could get a lawyer and get them to give you the information.
I don't have
Like
a lawyer, maybe.
Yeah. Would you? Okay. Do you have any guesses about, like, is this part of the Islamic regime? Do you think that is sending, or is it just lone wolf individuals that are just upset with you, or is it, would you guess?
It can be the Iranian regime too, but I cannot say for sure that Iranian regime. It can be Iranian regime. Actually, Iranian regime, they have a lot of connection in London, so they can
Mhm.
be. And they supporting a lot of terrorist groups, not only their people. So they, for example, they supporting the Hezbollah in Lebanon. They supporting some Muslim group. They supporting Al Qaeda. Even they supporting ISIS, Taliban. It can be any of them. And we call the Iranian regime, the Islamic regime in Iran, the godfather of the terrorism. So they are the godfather of the terrorism, and it can be any group, any people.
Okay, but you have no guesses yourself about who, what?
No.
No. But like, from a strategic point of view, it doesn't make any sense, because I don't understand. Are these people stupid? Because if they take you out, your work will become a lot more well known. Like, you will become like, that's not a very good way of silencing you, because you will become famous after death, and a lot of people will more people will discover what you have done. So do they not understand this, that if they do that to you, that's what will happen?
They might be, they didn't want that to be disclosed. Maybe they want to just kill me secretly, and the FBI or the uh, security group, or what they call the officials in United Kingdom, how they know it, I don't know. Probably they want to keep it secret and kill me secretly, but they
Yeah. But even if they kill you secretly, like, I'm sure we'll know that, hey, Azad is missing. Like,
yeah,
people will find out that you've been killed, and once we find out that you're killed, you will become famous, and people, more people will be like, okay, why was he killed? And more people will discover all the work that you have done. So it's like, again, it's not going to be, it's not a good way of silencing you. It's actually, it does the exact opposite. And I don't know, like, are these people, I'm just trying to understand what these people are thinking, because it
so do
just
you think?
sounds stupid.
Yes, because they are stupid. You think
Oh.
so? For example, the people that they killed the teacher in France, in Paris, they killed
Mhm.
the teacher, they beheaded the teacher.
Right.
Okay, that teacher was famous. Or the people that killed the journalist, the cartoonist from the Charlie Hebdo magazine, they thought, okay, they will be famous, because when they killed the journalist, the cartoonist of Charlie Hebdo, those cartoonists, actually the magazine itself, the Charlie Hebdo, was more famous, and they sold much more of their magazine or their cartoons, but they don't care about that.
Well, that's what. Okay, that's why it makes more sense to me if these are just individuals, like lone wolf people who are taking it upon themselves to come after you. It's just harder for me to believe, like, I mean, as evil as the Islamic Republic of Iran is, uh, they're not idiots. I mean, if they were idiots, they would have been able to keep on to the regime for like 43 years. You know what I mean? Like, they are strategic. So
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm just thinking, like, maybe is this a hint that this is just like individual Muslims who might be upset with you rather than the regime? Like,
It
that's what I'm
might
thinking.
be
Yeah.
specifically because they gave me two names, Vahid or Valid. They said,
Right.
and I said, "Do you know anybody like Vahid or Valid?" I said, "No." In London, I said, "No." So it might be a
Mm.
individual, but always they pay individual people to kill people. So like
Mm.
when they killed Bakhtiar, Shapur Bakhtiar in Paris, I think, or they killed other people. So they always paying money to people, to individual, to kill other people, or like all the terrorists that they pay money from the Iranian regime is individuals.
Hmm. Are you gonna stay away from any Vahid or Valid for the foreseeable
No,
future? I'm
and
just kidding.
some of my friends they name in Iran, or
Yeah,
their name is Vahid.
yeah, yeah.
I
So
have a
tell us.
question.
Yeah, go.
So given the experience you had of the government that you grew up under versus being contacted by the FBI as an American citizen, your government actively trying to protect you, like, how did that make you feel? That must have been like very different for you.
So I don't have any bodyguard or something like that. So I'm not protecting like that. But they said we are doing our job, and they gave me some information how to protect myself, how to call them, something like that. So nothing changed in my personal life. I'm just doing my usual personal life. And another reason that I think the Iranian regime can be part of that, because for example I was working with the brother of the big brother of the supreme leader of Iran. I talked to Voice of America about it. I worked with some great ayatollahs in Iran, and they know that I know them, and I'm
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I
okay,
was
okay.
working with the big brother of the Ayatollah Khamenei for a couple months. We worked closely together.
Oh,
I don't
the
think I explained myself very well. I meant to say, like, they might not be physically protecting you with a bodyguard, but like, does it make you feel safer and like valued as a citizen to know that the FBI is like looking out for you?
So as far as I know, in last 43 years, sometimes they did try to kill people, but in US that never happened to kill people. I know we have some terrorist attack like September 11, but as far as I know, they couldn't kill anybody that, for example, Muslim people. As far as I know, maybe they did, but I feel safe.
uh,
I'm not saying I feel safer because we ex-Muslim or we always under threats. So, but yeah, kind of, because I know they are doing their job. I know FBI is much stronger than even the in Europe, because in Europe they did a lot of terrors, like in Paris, uh, in Germany. But in US we are safe, and after that, yes, I kind of feel more safe.
mhm.
I'm glad to
Well,
hear that.
D is actually kind of. I feel like she's also frustrated, like I am, because she's asking, how can authorities tell you that you are in danger, but leave you with no clue from who? How can you protect yourself? Yeah, I would be kind of like, can you please give me some more information? Thank you very much. Um, but I think Azad is too nice to push them, because I would be like,
Yeah.
I would be pushing on for more information. But
Actually,
yeah.
I did not. They just talked to me. It was about 30 minutes conversation, and after that, another 10, 15 minutes, and after that, another maybe 20 minutes conversation. But I did not push them, and they told me that you don't need to know the
Mhm.
details. and we are protecting you. And even when I talk to them, hey, are we some press, they want to talk about it, are we okay to talk about it or say some generic comment? He said, yeah, you can say some generic comment, but you don't need to talk about the details, and you don't need to know the details. Then we can protect you, and we know what we are doing. So I did not push them, but yeah, actually I'm kind of uh, blind about the details too.
Can you tell us a little bit about the work you do that was good enough for some people to give you death threats? Like, tell us what do you do that has managed to affect them so much that
I'm
like
sorry, say it again.
tell us about some of your activities, like about the work you do, the amount of programs that you have, the shows that you have. Like, give us a little bit more detail so people know what kind of work gets you a death threat.
So my focus is to connect the Islamic regime, as because I said I'm looking for the regime change in Iran. But I believe that if we want to change the regime in Iran, we need to change its ideology, that it's Islam. So my focus is to connect the regime change and criticizing the Islam, or we apostate and we regime changers. So my focus is a connection between these two uh, philosophical or religious activity and political activity. So my activity is not only political and is not only criticizing Islam. It's a connection between both. You can see it in my background too, and because of that, even when I criticizing the Quran, it has a political part, and when I criticizing the regime, it has a religious part. And I think that's something that make them angry about me, because I would say in 43 years, some groups only criticizing Islam or religion, and some groups only doing political activities. But I connect both at the same time, even when I reading the Quran or even when I have a political program. So they are both together.
So, do you think it's because you are tying the religion to the foundations of the Islamic Republic of Iran, and that's a very sensitive thing for them? Because, like, there are so many anti-Islam people who, like, it's not a major threat to them ideologically just because they're anti-Islam. And there's also a lot of people who are politically trying to challenge them, but they have all the like, politically they have left no way for them to be challenged. The main thing is to show, I think what they're sensitive about is about religious people who support the regime all of a sudden recognizing there's no basis even within Islamic ideology for the Islamic Republic of Iran to have any authority. So if people make that connection, the reason why they're sensitive about that connection is because it's their base that they're going to lose. Like they have already lost us. They've already lost all the liberals, all the atheists, all the secularists, and even all the religious people who don't like the regime. They've already lost that, but they have a very strong base of people who are both religious and also think that the Islamic Republic of Iran is the representation of Imam Mahdi's regime here, on earth. And if you the only way you could get to that is to connect the religious to the political, and that's why they're so sensitive about that, right?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah, and another thing that I like to mention, my language is not very respectful about Islam. I'm not respect Islam because Islam is not respectful itself. So as you, I think it's in your poster, you say blasphemy too. So for example, it was a girl in Iran, and another woman asked her, hey, you need to wear your hijab. And she said, I don't like to wear my hijab. She said, no, you are living in an Islamic country and you must wear your hijab. And that girl said, shidan Islam, I shidan Islam, yeah. In Farsi we call redam to Islam, I shidan Islam. And we talk about that too much in our program. We had some poster about that, and we have some program about that. And they said, hey, we shit on Islam. We make it a trend on Twitter for a couple of days. And
I
another thing,
remember that. I
yeah,
remember because I saw Persian Twitter blowing up, and I was like,
exactly.
again, I do the auto translations and all this stuff, and people were going crazy. I was like, the stuff that people are saying on Farsi speaking Twitter is on a different level. Like, I thought I've seen harsh words about Islam before. It was nothing compared to this.
And because according to the Islamic rule, if you do a blasphemy, they can kill you too. So, and it's something that I talk about it too much. Even a couple of days, there are some protests in Iran, and there was a guy who was protesting in the streets, and he said, "I'm sorry," he said, "My penis in the Quran." So it's another things that the people, and I talk about it. I published that video. It's some things that they don't like it.
Right. It's becoming easier and easier for people to consider being extremely, um, you know, breaking the taboos of things that even people who are are anti-religious, they thought it's too big of a taboo to say stuff like that. So there's a huge desensitization. People are so frustrated about Islam that there seems to be no red lines anymore, no limits in what you can say and how disrespectful you can be about Islam. And the normalization of that is kind of scary to the regime, because it's the foundations of the regime is based on people having Islamic views. So just seeing videos coming out of Iran where people are saying like I shit on Islam, or my dick in Islam, or stuff like that, is like, and people share and it going viral and people enjoying it so much. It's like it's actually pretty scary. Like if the Iranian people are not that religious, then the whole authority of the entire regime will come into question, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
That actually brings up something we were talking about before the show. I don't know if you want to get into this already, Armin, but you guys were talking about your opinions on regime change, and I thought that was very interesting. Do you want to talk about that now, or did you have something else?
I do want to talk about that. I also want to talk about, before we go there, about what's happening in Iran right now.
Yes.
And also in the city, in your Azad's own city, you had something you wanted to share on the screen with us. But before we go there, Dee wanted to ask a question. Dee was saying, "I'm sorry, but has the guest written a book or a blog, or does he use social media? Where can we find his work, and what has he shared that has such opposition?" Oh, yeah, like Dee is interested in seeing your work, but I think a lot of it is written in Persian. Your blogs and your work. Like,
I included the links I put the links to Azads Instagram and YouTube channel in the description. It's right at the top of the description, so you guys can go follow him there. It is in Farsi, but if you follow him on Instagram, Instagram's auto translation is actually like pretty decent. Mm-hmm. It's not perfect, but you get the meaning. So I would still go definitely follow him on Instagram.
so for people to understand why Azad specifically has such a major issue for a lot of people, is because he's from them, right? He comes from amongst them. Like, he's been trained by their religious institutions to do the opposite of what he's doing right now, to become an Islamic scholar and also to work for the regime. And that's one sensitive thing about him. And another thing is that he's been in touch and working with like some of the highest Islamic figures in Iran. So he's been rubbing shoulders with them. So then for him to come and turn on Islam like this is also very sensitive. And a lot of the shows and work that he does is like at a higher level. Like, because he has a very deep understanding of Islam, and he does scholarly work. Like, it's not just like, oh, look at the Quran, hey, this is ridiculous. He understands the details of it. He knows the verses, he knows the Arabic, and he brings other people with a lot of knowledge, and they analyze the shit out of the Quran in a very academic level. Like, he does use the interesting thing about Azad is that he goes both ways. Like, you see, like, people are very scholarly and don't like insult Islam. They like scholarly criticize Islam and do work on it, but they don't use like very harsh or insulting language. And we have other people who are not like very scholarly but use very insulting language. But Azad is like he does both. So it's for somebody with such a, I don't know, scholarly background to all of a sudden come and share tweets of people saying like my dick in the Quran, or like I shit on the Quran, Islam. It's just like for some people can like what like can't handle it. So he's like all of that combined, which like a lot of people find it very insulting, and especially because a lot of people want to act like the only people who insult Islam like that are people who are of lower intellect. They're not at our level, they're not academics, they don't do, if they want to criticize Islam, they're not amongst the people who are educated or stuff like that. But Azad is proving like nope. Like I am very much educated about Islam and I do scholarly work, and yet I shit on Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, personally, my personality is not insulting personality.
Right.
And the point that I start quitting Islam, it was a ethical point that I would like to add. So, for example, my master dissertation was about the Pascal's wager. I think we have a program with Armin about Pascal's wager, and I was criticizing Pascal's wager from a ethical point of view. My PhD thesis was about the error theory of G.L. Mackie. Probably you know the G.L. Mackie, the English philosopher. He was an atheist too, but I was criticizing the error theory that is a theory of in ethics. So the point that I start quit Islam, it was an ethical point of view, and also I care about the human, not the ideas. So, for example, that's the reason that I don't care about the politics, but I care about the human that the politics suffers them, or the people that suffering from the Islamic regime or any kind of religious regime. And in my program, I'm not focused only on Islam. So, for example, I right now I have a Holy Bible in front of me, and sometimes I read the Holy Bible and I tear down the Holy Bible too. But right now, my focus is about Islam, because the Islamic regime in Iran, in Middle East, the Taliban, the ISIS killing people, and my concern is the human, not the ideas. So I want to add that one. And what was your question, Armin? I forgot.
So you said your personality is not to insult, but yet you still share videos of people like saying those very harsh words about Islam. Is it so? Given that it's not your personality, is it because you see utility in such insults against Islam that you still share it, even though it doesn't go with your personality? So why do you take part in it if it's not part of your personality?
Because religion insulting people by killing them. So if the religions, if specifically Islam insulting people by killing them, and they said, okay, these texts say you must kill other people because of their belief, and people said, okay, this text is sacred. I'm saying, hey, just as you said to break the taboos, this text is not sacred. And look,
Mhm.
I'm insulting this text, and actually, I'm not insulting. I'm just saying, hey, look, this is not sacred. This is insulting the human being. This is insulting the woman, the man, the apostates, any people that is not thinking like them. And actually, inside the Islam itself, there is a lot of cults, religions, and they kill themselves too. So my point of view, this text is not sacred. This text is not ethical. This text is not rational, and I'm just under. How can I say? I just discovered that, hey, this text is not sacred. This text is not respectful to human being, and if I just explain it, I just showing that it's not respectful. I'm not insulting, but I'm discovering the insulting text of Quran or Islam itself.
Well, you are. I mean, you are insulting, but I don't think that's a bad thing. But you have been insulting. You have been burning the Quran, right? So what? I mean, it's not a bad thing to insult Islam. I don't think.
No, it is not. I'm
Yeah.
saying it's bad
Yeah.
thing, but I'm even in my the last Wednesday of the Persian calendar that we burn the Quran. We said we burning the Quran because Quran burning the people and burning Iran. If they
Right.
stopped burning the people, burning human beings, burning countries, burning civilization, then we stop and then we read it. But right now, because this text burning people, based on this text, we burn this text, and because this is my text, this is my uh,
Yeah, your book.
my
You
Quran.
own that
It's
book.
my book.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you.
I own the
Yeah,
book. It's mine.
yeah. You could do
It's
whatever
my
you want with it.
property. I
Yes,
do
you're.
whatever I like.
Exactly. That's what I said when I burned the Quran. These saying, does he consider himself a secular humanist? Yeah, I think you do. You consider yourself a secular humanist,
Yes, correct.
right? Okay. And also Qasim is saying you have an interview with IRTV, which is Iranian's Iranian TV, the Islamic Republic's TV. When he was entering Imam Sadiq University, can you play that? That is awesome. Oh, really? You have, like, back when you were Muslim? There's a video of your interview with the
Yeah, it was
Iranian TV.
interview, but it was not in Iranian TV. It was in the
Oh,
university, in Imam Sadegh University, and I had that interview. I published it myself, but it was from. I can
oh.
bring it up here too, but it was in Iranian.
Okay. Yeah, that would be, yeah. So
Would be
Qasim,
great
can you
to
send the
take it
link?
for your
That would
people.
be cool to see. Yeah, we would want to see that. So Susanna is getting the link from Qasim, so we'll show it. But while we wait for that, and maybe we'll show it close to the end of the show. I want to ask. So your part of your activity, so you can see behind you, one of the symbols that you have is barandas, which is people, regime changers, or people who want to change the regime in Iran. Right now especially is like a very significant time in Iran, because a lot of people are back in the streets and protesting because of the mismanagement by the Islamic Republic of Iran of their economy. And the news is not getting out much into non-Iranian TV, especially because I don't know, they cut the internet, so there's not enough footage coming out for people to pay more attention to it. So we want to shine a light on that if we can here. So there, can you tell us what's happening, and what is the regime's response, and give us like some details about that?
Yeah, first of all, I want to a little bit explain it. It's not just for economic, because some people
Mhm.
say it's for economic, it's for poverty, but it's for freedom. It's not for poverty. The
Mhm.
people, even the slogans that people talking about on the streets is not for economy. They need freedom. And my last name is Farsani, so it means it's from Farsan. And last in the last couple of days, we have a protest in my province, Char Mahal Bakhtiyari, and in my town, in my hometown in Iran, Farsan, and some other town and villages around Farsan, and they were protesting for freedom, and they killed at least 5 people. But I have some sources, actually some sources that I can trust them, that at least 16 people were killed. So some of them I knew them, like the first one with mustaches. I knew him. He's from my town in Iran. The second one, he was a 17 years old boy that killed. The other one is another village close to my town, and they all fighting for freedom. Not only the young
Mhm.
people, not only for against poverty or for economy. And it's something that for 43 years people fighting for freedom, and the government or the Islamic regime killed them, and based on Quran they said, okay, you are apostate or you are against the regime and we can kill you.
So these are all these people in these pictures were killed by the regime. When in the past, like when were they killed?
In the past few days, in the past week. So some of them,
Past week,
yeah. For
and they're.
example, the second
Mhm.
one was killed on Sunday, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, the
And
young.
I guess, yeah, and these are only people. This is not the entirety of the list. These are just people close to your city, close to your
Correct.
town. These are
Yeah,
people who you know. Yeah,
yeah.
and I can see the first guy top on the top right. By the way, the reason why I say the first guy, because in Persian you read from right to left. I can see his name is Farsan, which is like your last name, because you came from the same city.
Correct. Yeah, the first one, and actually the guy with 2 kids is the village that I know very well. It's from my town too. It's just a village close to my town. The third one is really close to my town too, the young man. But the other two, Omid and Pish Ali, they are a little bit far away. They are from the province of Khuzestan, but they are close to my town too.
How were they killed? Like shot in the head? Shot by?
Correct. Yeah, there is some videos that they showing they shot on head.
And in the streets while they were protesting.
Correct.
And
even the old man, he was not on the street. He was just watching from the window of his house, and they killed him by kind of accident because they just shooting.
The thing is, the shot in the head is very significant because what a lot of people argue is that even if you want to stop the protest, you could aim for legs, but they like a lot of evidence is out there that they on purpose aim for the head. Like they're extremely brutal with their tactics.
Well, in the past few years, they've been notorious for shooting out people's eyes on purpose.
Yes, on purpose.
That's well known.
Yeah, the strategy of the Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme religious leader of Iran, it's a an-nasru bil-ru'b, mean victory by threat, victory by what can you say, by terror, victory by terror, exactly, victory by terror. So they want to terror people, they want to people feel scared, and if the people feel scared, they can take them away of the protesting. So it's the strategy of Ayatollah Khamenei. They call an-nasru bil-ru'b, victory by terror, and they are trying to terrorize people and make them scared, and then stop other people to join them. So they do that on purpose. Shoot on head, hurt.
The protests, the most, I mean, there are many protests, but the most recent ones first started mainly in Khuzestan, but now it's spreading. I heard it spread to Khorasan, and now it's spreading to other places in the country. Right. Is that the do you have more information about what kind of protests are happening? I know there's a lot of strikes. I know that there's teacher strikes. I know the truck drivers are have strikes, and it just seems like they're happening more and more and more with less distance between them, and they're becoming much more widespread. Like, do you have more information of the nature of the protests and the locations and the price that people are paying?
Yeah, the nature of them, as I told you, it's for freedom. It's exactly for their freedom, because I am in close contact with them. I always getting some message from them, and their slogans, they are on the streets. They are telling, hey, we want freedom. We don't want the religious government. We don't want the mullahs. We don't want Ayatollah Khamenei's. We don't want Islam to be govern our country. And right now, the center of the protest is my town in Iran. We call Farsan, and around that, there is another city close, about 5 or 6 miles away from my town, Junagan, and it's the center of the protest right now is my town, and they are fighting for freedom.
There's been a lot of chants in the street. I'm not sure in what cities, but I've seen videos of chants like saying like "Long live the Shah," like in support of the Shah, like very boldly in opposition to the regime. What do you think about that?
Yeah, there is different kind of chants, but I cannot say there is really a wide range of chants. So we cannot say only "Long live Shah" or whatever. Most of them
are deaf. Well, I can't say that on YouTube actually.
No.
Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, I can't say that on YouTube. Most of them are wishing, the certain things about certain people, including the current president Raisi and the supreme leader Khamenei, actually it's been very sensitive. It's hard to actually talk about that, because even like the news station Iran International, they're posting videos of the chants on Instagram, for example, and Instagram removes them, and has even the news agency has been now shadow banned on Instagram because the chants are, saying deaf to and then certain individuals. So it's really hard to share news about this, given the nature of the chants, and given how sensitive social media is about specific calls to violence about
Yeah,
certain
incitement to
individual.
violence.
Yeah. So I don't know how to do that, how to report that. But yeah, but it's very bold that they are saying those chants, like saying that about Khamenei himself. It's just like just 10, 20 years ago, I couldn't imagine this many people just so um, without any fear coming out and having chants like that. I just recently saw, just from a week ago, I think, this girl in the middle of a square. I don't know which city that was, holding an image of Khamenei, burning it. But like usually when they burn images of Khamenei, they just like do it in the middle of the night and they burn it, and the people run away. And then you're like, oh my god, they're so brave. Look at this, the image of Khamenei is burning. But
She
this
was in
one,
the
she was
middle of a rotunda, cars driving around her everywhere, daytime,
daylight,
like
daytime, just
face
standing right
completely
there.
visible. I was like, oh
Unbelievable.
my god.
What, like, this is like a new normal right now in Iran, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean,
I agree.
okay. So, given all of this, what do you think is going to happen? Like, is there any chance for the regime toppling? Because I just sometimes imagine, like, okay, this is becoming more and more normal, and there's more people are protesting, and less people are holding back, right? And people think like, okay, given how protests are growing and the distance between them is like shortening, a lot of people like this has to eventually lead into the regime toppling. But at the same time, is I it's hard to imagine that happening, given how much military power the regime has, and how, if they wanted to, what they could do to the protesters to be able to, shut it down. Especially we saw that in Aban, right? um so I just see, like, even if more people show up, how is the regime supposed to fall? Like, I don't I can't imagine a way that the regime will get toppled. What do you think?
You're right. The only way that we can change the regime, there is two way. And actually, Nimazam Ruhollah was saying the same thing. There is only way. The people get the gun and protect themselves, defend themselves by gun, or
Hmm.
by attack from other countries. So, for example, if US or other countries attack them, because as you said, they are military and revolutionary guards. They kill people, they shoot them on heart and head. So if the people get the gun that I right now, I I think the people should do that, get the gun and
Well,
protect.
we don't know. Actually, let's not say that on YouTube, because we're gonna get wiped out. We
Understand?
don't know. Yeah, yeah. So
Just
we
self
don't know.
defense. I'm talking about self defense.
Self defense. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, self defense. Yeah, we're not encouraging anybody to go do
me
anything.
too.
The people could decide that themselves. Yeah, but just YouTube might not understand what we're saying. Okay, so we're just talking about self defense. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying those are the only two You agree that those are the only two alternatives?
There is another alternative. If the millions of people
Hmm.
go into the streets and protest and trying to, um, for example, how can I say, protest on the street, millions of people, not only 100, a couple thousands or something, like millions of people, if they protest on the street and they try to conquer some strategic centers, like the supreme leader house, they call Beit Rahbari, or
Hmm.
some military bases. If they do like that, it might be another things. Yeah. And I think the best way is the people protest by vast majority of the people, like at least 5% of the whole population of Iran, and they use their self-defense power. So if they need to defend themselves, they can use even gun.
Okay. I think there's also another alternative if some people within the regime themselves turn on them. I think that's actually the most likely scenario, is if the frustration with the regime manages to get into the armed forces. Maybe some people,
some kind of cope.
yeah, some kind of coup d'etat, yeah, so like within either the Artesh or a segment of the IRGC, if they just like turn on the government and join the people, maybe that's also another alternative. I mean, instead of people getting armed, getting the armed forces to join the people.
Yeah, but because of the nature of the military powers in Iran, it's not very uh, possible.
Feasible.
Yeah, it's not realistic actually.
Mm.
It can be, it's a potential possibility, but it's not realistic.
Mm. Susanna, you wanted to highlight a question by Qasim?
Yeah. Qasim is asking, when do you think Tehran will join the protests as serious as towns like Farsan and Hafshinjan? Oh, I can't pronounce it right. I'm sorry.
I'm not a prophet. I cannot say the prophecy. I hope, and actually they start. Um, they did that a couple times in the last few years, and even in the last days, and they try to do that. But
You know what they did, Suzy? They said that they closed everything. They said that the pollution levels are too
yeah,
high, and they shut down the city. People are like, "What you
Wait,
talking about? The
who said that the pollution levels were too high?
The government, in order to prevent Tehran rising up,
Mm-hmm.
they shut down everything with the excuse of air quality being too bad. But it was weird because air quality was worse before, and they didn't shut down the city. But now they shut down the
I've
city, and
seen
they're
a
like, "Oh,
joke today. I've seen a
yeah,
joke today. You say the pollution is so bad that there is a possibility to cut the internet for that.
oh yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, we're
Because
kind
they cut the internet. For example, in my province, in my town, they cut the internet because of the protest. But they said, okay, the pollution is so bad, they might be cut the internet because of the pollution. Because
yeah, yeah,
they don't close the the city. They don't say that because of the pollution. They just say because of the pollution, but they did that
yes, it
because
is.
of the because they strike. Some of the bus drivers they stroke, so they trying to avoid of the a vast majority of people protesting, and they are really scared of that.
Yeah, I also saw that because of all the bus drivers being on a strike, they're bringing the soldiers, the armed forces, to drive the buses, and a lot of them are not very good at driving buses. So there's a lot of damages on the buses because they're trying
Oh
to
my
replace
god.
the bus drivers, right? Yes. So, um, yeah, Susie, do you have the because we're almost actually? Let me highlight this question, and then we want to close soon, but we want to watch that video before we go. Okay, so Norse mythology in the live chat is asking, how will the lack of progress in the nuclear negotiations affect the domestic situation? Oh, that's a huge discussion for another day. I will do streams on that for sure, but I think we're gonna yes, but Norse mythology, just make sure you keep looking for our future streams. I will analyze that on future streams. But yeah, let's watch the video. Unless Azad, do you want to comment on that or no? I think that's not your
No,
area.
yeah, and I think that video, the first video, it was about when I was 18 years old, and it was the first day in school in Imam Sadegh University. And probably the second part, it was a couple years ago, maybe 3 4 years ago, and I was reading a poet that they say I shit on Islam, or I shit on Khomeini, I shit on Khomeini. I think I'm not sure if we have the second part in that video or not.
Okay, let's watch it. Then. Do you have it? Oh, Susie's frozen.
Oh,
Oh, Susie's frozen. I thought she was just holding very, very still. Qasim, can you send me the video on
I might be
maybe?
having to.
Oh, you have it.
I think
Oh
so.
wait, perfect. Okay, perfect person is saying, is there a strong, real revolution in Iran? Well, perfect person. We went through the details of this throughout the show. So yeah, yes, there is a strong demand for a revolution in Iran. Whether it leads to something or not, that's the question. so we don't know that.
Sorry, I'm looking for the video. I'm not sure I can. I think I found it.
Okay.
Is he not back yet? Oh, she's gone?
Yeah, she got dropped out. I think she had an internet issue.
Oh.
She's going to come back, though. Usually it takes a few seconds. Qasim, do you mind sending me that video also on Facebook as well, just in case? Oh, there we go. Susie's back.
Okay, good.
I think. Hello. Susie. Oh, here.
منم عباس خسروی هستم از فارسان. آقای خسروی در رشته چرا مثلا قبول شدید؟ من رشته الهیات دانشگاه. منم شرکت کردید دانشگاه دیگه.
Okay, wait. Let's go to the beginning. Okay, let's do one by one. Okay, so this is Azad. My God, you're so young, Azad.
What a little baby!
You're so young. Okay, yeah, I forgot. I need to translate. Okay.
منم عباس خسروی هستم از فارسان.
He's saying I am Abbas Khosravi from Farsan, the city of Farsan.
آقای خسروی در رشته چرا مثلا قبول شدید؟ من رشته
Like what have you been? What degree did you just pass? Like what degree did you just got? Like what speciality did you just pass? I think that's best.
الهیات دانشگاه.
He's like theology. I passed. I just got. Is that a good translation? I just got the degree of theology.
That's correct. Thank you.
Yeah, that's.
شرکت کردید دانشگاه دیگه. چه رشته قبول شدید؟ اونم باز رشته الهیات گرایش علوم قرآن دانشگاه تهران.
Oh wow, you got 2 degrees in theology from 2 different universities?
No, I was accepted in 2 universities because I actually at that time I had couple. I got a good score, so I could go to any kind of university. But I chose theology. I could go get a degree in law or whatever, but I chose. Yeah, I accepted in different schools in Tehran University, in Mashhad University, and in Imam Sadiq University. But I chose Imam Sadiq University.
By the way, so you're like a really hardcore Muslim at this moment, right? At this moment, right? So if that young Azad could see you right now and what you become, would you be horrified? Would that Azad be horrified to see this Azad?
I was hardcore Muslim, but I criticizing even when I start memorizing Quran when I was 9-10 years old. I was start reading the history of Quran and the history of Islam. So even when I was really 10, 11 years old, I had a critical thinking, not just memorizing Quran. I read the Quran with translation, with interpretation, with critical thinking, with ethical point of view. So even at that point, I was stop memorizing the Quran, and I was Muslim. I was a good Muslim, but I was not a hardcore Muslim or just
blind follower. Not a blind follower. Yeah.
سوال من خب تکراریه، میدونید که به هر حال انگیزه شما، هدف شما از انتخاب این دانشگاه برای مکان تحصیلی آینده‌تون چی است؟
So the reporter is asking, what is your motivation? What is your goal for picking this university and studying here?
همونجوری که دوستان اشاره کردن این دانشگاه یک اختلاط منطقی و مناسب داره بین علوم حوزوی و علوم دانشگاهی.
Oh, you picked the university because this university has a good connection between Hose science and academic science. Like it's kind of in between looking at things, I think, like scientifically and religiously. Like is that a good translation?
That's correct.
تقریبا 2 بال و 2 جناحین رو به اصطلاح.
Yeah, it's like you're saying it's like 2 wings of the same bird. Like you're using 2 different methodology to look at Islam.
تقویت میکنه در فرد و باعث میشه که فرد توی لغزش‌های زندگی به ثابت قدم‌تر باشه.
It helps you take better steps towards in life because you're doing both methodologies. Oh, then a few years later. So that was you back then, and now a few years later.
ولی یک دارم از یک شروع میکنم. بر مصلحت نظامتان شاشیدم.
He says like, I piss on the authenticity of your regime. Is that a good translation? Of the authority. I piss on the authority of your regime.
بر مرقد آن امامتان شاشیدم.
Marqad, I don't know how to translate marqad, but something about what?
I'm talking about the Ayatollah Khomeini thump.
Yeah, okay, and you see, I piss on that as well.
گفتید که یک چاه مقدس دارید در چاله جمکرانتان شاشیدم.
Like you told us that you have a sacred well, and then I piss in your sacred well.
And you know what is the sacred well? It's the Jamkaran for the Imam Zaman. They said it's in there.
So there's a well in Iran that people say that that's where the 12 Imam Mehdi, that's where he disappeared in. And apparently Azad is saying that I piss in that well.
بر پیکر نصف نیمه‌ات شاشیدم.
By the way, this is like in poets, like it's not just saying I'm pissing, like this is actually beautiful poetry. It rhymes, it's rhyming. Okay, so this is poetry.
That makes it so much better.
And he's saying I piss on your half body, like what do you like on your small body, on your I don't know. It said Apekere Nesvanimat Shashidam. What is that? How do you translate that?
Oh, Ayatollah Khamenei, when it was a protest, the people protesting on a street, and he start crying, hey, and Ayatollah Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran state, I have man jism naqisi daram. I have a yeah.
So Khamenei, he was in an attempt to be humble in the speech. He was like, I have this insignificant body, and people were like crying, like because he was being so humble, right? And now Azad is saying,
he was trying to encourage people to fight for him and kill other people for him.
Yes. Pretending to be humble, exactly. Yeah, because yeah. And Azad here saying, I piss on your insignificant body, referring to that speech.
شاشیدم بر مذهب و بر عقیده‌ات اسلام رو میگه بر مذهب و بر عقیده‌ات شاشیدم.
He's saying, I piss on your religion and on your belief.
سرتاسر جسم ناقصت را ول کن. یادتونه گفت جسم ناقصی دارم. سرتاسر جسم ناقصت را ول کن بر دو.
Like completely forget about your insignificant body. Like it's keep referring to that speech.
طرف شقیقه‌ات شاشیدم.
You see two sides of your
yeah, like I forget your body, I piss on your head.
حالا دو دارم دیگه، با اجازهتون میرم سراغ دو. اماما من بران سیمایی همچون انترت ریدم. بران
Oof, okay, it's getting into us now. Now we're going from shitting on things instead of pissing on things. Wait, I don't know how to translate this last word. Well, okay, let me go. What do you say?
I said it's saying Imam, I mean Imam Khomeini or Khamenei. I shit on your face.
Oh, I shit on your face. I don't know. Maybe
like your face like your it's like a ape.
Oh my God. Qasim is saying the translation for that is that my disabled body. Oh yeah. So yeah, the better translation would be like Khamenei, like, oh, my disabled body, because his hand is, I think, disabled from wartime. Yeah, so that's what he was.
اگرچه دورم با تأسف از حضور انورت لیک اگرچه دورم با تأسف از حضور انورت لیک من مخلص.
Like even though I'm far away from your shitty face.
قیابن بر حضور انورت ریدم.
If they bring me next to you, I will shit on you. Is that what it is? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's hard to translate this because it's poetry, okay? So it's hard to translate.
امامی رهبری اما به قدر خر نمیفهمیم.
Like you are the supreme, you are the imam, you're a leader, but you don't understand. You can't comprehend things even as much as a donkey.
بیشت به آن فهم زخر هم کمترت ریدم.
Okay, I'll shit on your low comprehension levels.
توضیح المسائل آن اراجیفی که بنوشتی به تألیفات بی ارج و بهای دیگرت ریدم.
I'll shed on all the bullshit that you have written.
به تسبیح و عبا و جامه تقوا که پوشیدی به تسبیح و عبا و جامه تقوا
I'll shed on the tasbih, the rosary that you hold, and also on the imam, the mullah clothing that you're wearing. I'll shed on all of that.
که پوشیدی بران امامه پیچیده در دور سرت.
And also I'll shed on the turban that you're wearing.
Do you say poetic defecating?
Anyway, so this was interesting to put together because he was like, when he was young, the video is like showing like, oh my, he's going into studying theology in the Islamic Republic of Iran, and then all of a sudden, a few years later, the most aggressive stances against the regime and Islam. Yeah. By the way, guys, the poetry, like the translation is not as good as the poetry is actually pretty funny and interesting. Like if you could just read it in Persian, it would be pretty. Yeah. Oh, you have something?
No, I just want to say, because I published those videos separately, but then the website that you can see, Islam and You, they call the Naqd Islam. It was actually a good website that they criticizing Islam, and they do a lot of works, and they put these two videos together, and I just want to say thank you to them.
It's so funny. Azad, I think that might be one of the best poems I've ever heard.
And like always, I told people, hey, I had actually my book that you talked about it, the Novel Whispers. It's about 7 books in about 6,000 pages. I have maybe hundreds of interview and videos, and the people like this video more than any other video. I said, hey, I have a lot of articles, I have my books, I have a lot of interviews, I have a lot of video that I made criticizing Islam. I don't know, people like this video more than anything else.
Okay, so and you have something else that you want to share? Is it this one?
Yeah, actually this is the poster that one of my friends is a graphist in Iran. After that girl in the subway in Iran, they said I shit on Islam. He made my friend name is Mahyar. He made this poster, and he said shit on Islam. It's a chant of any Iranian because Iranian lives.
Yeah. So it's the poster says that the chant of every Iranian is I shit on the religion of Islam. Hashtag I shit on Islam.
You said that so passionately, Armin.
Exactly. That's how you.
Well, I'm saying it because it just looks like a lot more like epic,
powerful.
Powerful. It's like it's the contrast of what it's saying and the way it looks is kind of funny because it's about shitting on Islam, but it looks like it's a rallying cry
like
for the people.
Poster.
We shit on Islam. Every Iranian, we shit on Islam together. Say it with me.
And one thing that I need to add, we are against Islam, but we are not against Muslim. It is very important. It is very important. Muslim, we love them, but Islam, I really disagree with Islam. I'm trying to remove Islam from the minds, not, we can kill Islam from the mind easily. We cannot kill Muslim. They are human. We love them, but we can kill Islam because it's an idea. Islam is something subjective, but people are objective. We cannot remove objective things, but we can remove subjective things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or abstract and subtract. There is a big difference. Even I'm against the removing the mullahs. We can, like the economy, if the people cannot, if there is nothing in the market to buy, then the seller cannot offer that. So if we try to kill the Islamic belief, then the mullahs, they have nothing to do. They don't have anything to sell. Then Islam by itself is gone. So that's
a good way of putting it.
Target.
Yeah, just for people, just to be clear, like this is not something that Azad just like touches on only at the, he actually very much highlights this all the time. Like, he's very insistent on saying that Muslims are not the enemy. We are in favor of supporting Muslims, helping Muslims, wishing them better lives, right? We're against the ideology. This has nothing to do with attacking Muslims themselves. Like, as aggressive as Azad has been against the religion of Islam, he's also has been always insisting on this, that our fight is not with Muslims themselves, right? So and it's really good that he constantly repeats that. Like, for people must understand, like, a lot of the people who fight Islam as a religion in Iran, they have family members who are Muslims. There are people who love that they're Muslims. They have fellow Muslims who are anti-regime and are fighting against the regime with them. So this is not just like pretending. When a lot of people, they say we're not against Muslims, we're not against Islam, it's not just something they say. They literally have Muslim friends who are fighting side by side with them against the regime. So, and people that they love and they're married to and their family members that are Muslims, right? So yeah,
and it is my personal experience, because I used to be a Muslim and I quit Islam. So a lot of people are Muslim too, and it's just like me. I used to be a Muslim. I'm not Muslim anymore. So it's something that I need to really emphasize. We are against Islam, not Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, our priority is Muslim, because we are free. We are free. We are aware of the Islam that harmful to the people, but we are trying to bring on Muslim attention. Hey, this is Islam, so our priority is Muslim people, because we are atheists. So we are atheists. We try to make Muslim people aware of the Islam and make them atheist, or at least secular.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Azad. Like, I loved hearing about your work. I'm so glad that we got to bring you over to the English side of things, share you with a new audience. And guys, if you want to follow Azad and his work, I put the links to his YouTube and Instagram in the description. He's Azad Azad Farsani 5 on Instagram. So make sure to follow him there.
Why is 5?
Why is the 5?
Because this is my 5th Instagram. So they closed my Twitter. My Twitter is permanently suspended. My Facebook page suspended, not permanently, but they closed my Facebook. For Instagram page, even they tried to close my YouTube channel. Even they attack my WhatsApp. So it's not only on social media.
They're coming at you. Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm so glad that you're safe and you're doing things to take care of yourself. And thank you for sharing all that with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. This was very helpful. And North Mythology in the live chat saying fascinating show today. Thank you. Yeah, thank you so much for that. That was very helpful. All right, so I'm gonna end it. Guys, please make sure you like and share this video with as many people as you can. We want to use this as a way to bring more attention to the protests in Iran and the plight of the Iranian people. So please make sure that you like the video and share the video and leave a comment after the stream is over. And thank you guys. I'm going to end the broadcast right now.
Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.